Welcome to the Truck You Podcast. My name is Sebastian.
My name's Jose, guys.
How's it going?
Good, bro.
Good. 10,000 subscribers. I want to open that with that. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah, dude. That's crazy. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Super crazy. We did not ever, I don't know. We want subscribers and people to subscribe, but it seemed to go pretty quick to 10.
To be honest, I didn't expect it was going to get this.
I know. And then we were at 3 not too long ago. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in and actually being interested in what we put out here. That helps a lot. It helps the channel. And hopefully you guys can spread the word and as many guys that can learn from it. That's best. That's the goal, right? Today, we're going to talk about Cummins ISX, all the bad things about Cummins
common
ISX,
issues.
Right? Common issues with Cummins ISX. And before I start, I just wanted to touch base on what's been happening. We haven't had an episode last week. We've been pre-holiday busy, and you're gonna hear a lot of background noise just because we're working. It's 9 a.m. Is it 10 a.m.?
10
a.m.
10
right now.
Reason we're doing it is because previous episode the lights were going out.
Yeah, the lights were going out. We want to test different.
Give something new on.
Yeah, do something new, and we actually can now, since we have the studio, we can just do it at any time of the day when you have a little bit of time to do it. So, what's been happening in the shop? We want to talk about that for a little bit.
We just recently finished up that bowl gear on that D13.
We have the videos going out today.
Mm-hmm. And then flywheel housing on a Series 60. What else we got going on? We're still waiting on the cylinder head to come back for 85.
Yeah.
Our Series 60.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the head on the Series 60. We have a lot of Series 60 issues.
Yeah.
We have one in-frame waiting outside. We have another Cummins ISX waiting for one of our customers.
That's a signature series. Yeah.
Which I really want to do. We're just so backed up, and people taking off for holidays is just setting us back. Just pretty much end of the year shenanigans, I would say. We're planning 2021 already. I have somewhat planned out January, February. We are not seeing any slowdown as far as, not that we're not seeing, usually kind of tapers off the peak in January.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like
it's going down.
It's going to do that.
That much of a dip?
Yes, because of the pre-orders and what's happening in the freight market. So we'll see. We might have a very busy January and February.
Hopefully.
And we will because of winter. I don't think we've seen
We haven't seen any harsh winter yet.
No. That's what's going to bring us a lot of work. Which
freeze-ups.
Which we are hiring. If there are any techs interested,
we're
looking always for good techs. So hit us up. All right, let's talk about it. Let's do common issues for Cummins ISX. So, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with
the turbo failure.
Turbo failures.
Let's talk about that turbo failure. What's going on over there?
Actuators. Either the actuator is going out, or you see the actual VGT, the vanes seizing up once you remove the actuator. I think we did a video on it, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Or that it got lost, I think.
You
remember we filmed one over there by the bench? We were like,
I thought it went live up. Let's not dig into my lost footage, please. But we definitely had some videos on the channel about turbos in general, right? So this one in particular, the build-up is causing a lot of those issues.
Really common, yeah.
Mileage, what do you think mileage-wise?
It varies, but I would say roughly around the 400s.
Yeah.
400s up into whatever, 650. It all really varies.
Yeah, I agree. What's next?
EGR valve. That's probably one of the biggest issues they had. EGR valves, EGR coolers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You start consuming coolant, or you're wondering where the coolant is going.
Yeah, and it's an internal leak.
Yeah.
So how can somebody? Well, if you have one, then you're pretty much just eating coolant like crazy. You just have to add coolant, so you see the coolant consumption. But excessive pressure in the cooling system.
Cooling system, yeah.
Right.
Or you're gonna notice the expansion tank, the coolant reservoir, it's gonna start getting full of soot on the top. It's gonna get black. It's gonna change different color.
Discolored coolant, yeah.
Yeah.
And the SCR and DPF clogging.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's going straight out the exhaust.
Yeah, which sucks because it kills your
filters.
Your filters, and we didn't talk about it, but briefly I can touch on my F350 that I bought. We should do a video about that. That was a good.
Yeah.
That was a good. I bought a used F350 2019 with 60,000 miles, and the motor went. I knew when I bought it, it went, but it was on warranty. So long story short, it just killed the DPF and the SCR, and I'm not sure about if it killed the SCR, but the DPF was clogged up because the previous owner was driving on it. Long story short, we got it fixed, and it was just so clogged up. It's crazy. And I called them. I'm like, hey, can you guys address it? And they're like, yeah, we might have to. I'm like, what? You probably will.
Sure
in my head, I was like, you will for sure. And then they called me like, yeah, we put everything new on it. So good. So the internal leaks on the EGR cooler. The EGR itself, the EGR valves, that's definitely something to look out for on ISX.
Absolutely.
Any year range around, we should probably specify that there was a change between 2010 2011 Cummins ISX, the single overhead cam.
The 2250, the single overhead cam, yeah.
You want to talk about that for a second? I don't know if I
previously was the 2250. That's the one that we have a video on that we did the in-frame on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the single overhead cam. That was in 2010, early 2010, late 2010, early 11. That's when those came out.
Yes. So do you know the primary difference other than the cam was the primary difference, right? They
whole gear train, gear housing chains, cylinder head.
They simplified it, yeah.
Common rail. You have a common rail in there.
Mm-hmm.
High pressure fuel pump. That's also another issue they had.
Which takes us to the next thing, which is high. Let's swap it out a little bit. High pressure fuel pump. It does have ceramic internals up until I think 16 or 17.
17, yeah. They started switching them over. They had a recall on them.
Mm-hmm.
They had the plungers, tappets. They were going out ceramic, and all those shavings you would just get them all through the oil, bearings, everything.
I wonder that can kill your engine too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, but I'm thinking is like how the design process, how they were, hey, let's just put ceramic internals on that.
Actually, the Detroits use ceramic rollers on them, on the rockers.
But we never
rarely know.
So
it's just material.
Yeah,
comes out to material. Yeah.
Which they had a vendor. They were gonna maybe do that, and then just the quality of the material was just a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's a common thing, but this one's for some reason just not working.
And it's really expensive. If you let it go to a certain extent.
Yeah. So that's been updated in 2016-17. So if you didn't have issues,
I would say a little bit earlier, don't you think? 2016.
16 from what I know, 16. So, but could have been.
Could be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know. Comment on if you guys know what was exactly the date. I think it was 16 when they swapped it. We skipped after treatment.
After treatment, yep. One other thing that we missed: intake manifold sensor, IMAP. That one's always clogging up on those ISX. Always.
Okay. That's a good one, but that's also related pretty much to everything that we're talking about. Yeah. For some reason, the exhaust gases on the ISX is loaded with soot. Yep. Therefore, the after treatment issues, right? Like you look at the next item we have, the high idle, so much exhaust with soot going through it. It's just gonna clog up everything.
Yeah, you got that right. Oil consumption. Honestly, they had a big issue with that.
Which, no surprise with the soot.
No surprise. They're burning 4 to 5 gallons.
So what do you think that is though? I mean, we know what it is, but let's
we know
talk
what
about
it is.
that.
It's worn cylinders.
Yeah.
So broken rings or worn piston rings on there.
Would you say it's also has to do with the assembly, how it's assembled? Because
Yes.
I've seen a
Yes.
lot of new ones. I can't say a lot, but I've seen a number of new ones that had those issues right from the very beginning, low mileage.
Did we mention in a previous video that I think we pulled one of the pistons out on the Series 60 that we're doing the glider,
Mhm.
how the rings weren't set
Yeah,
properly?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that has a lot to do
yeah.
with it as well.
Was that a builder from Tennessee?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, but so let's talk about that really quick because we actually just pulled out a head from our factory reman glider, the Series 60, and it has 1.2 million miles.
1.2,
You
yeah.
want to talk about the sleeves and the pistons and what's how clean that is?
There's no crazy like scoring in there.
Nothing.
Internal. Nothing
Nothing crazy.
No.
A little bit obviously for the mileage, but versus other aftermarket rebuilds we've seen, holy crap!
You
Big
get what
difference.
you pay for. I mean, you're buying an OEM kit versus
Yeah. Yeah, but some claim that we're using
We're doing
different
better.
parts because we want better parts, we want better rebuilds, but ultimately they weren't better rebuilds.
Yeah.
It was just cheaper.
Cheaper.
But something to definitely. I was really surprised how good that engine looked for 1.2 million miles.
and you've had that since day one.
Since day one.
Since day one, yeah.
So it was a good maintenance, but at the same time, I think it's just a good rebuild.
Yeah.
So if you find the factory glider, definitely, I would say better chance of having a healthier engine than an aftermarket rebuild. Right, even though you don't know the history of the maintenance, because that is it impacts the engine. But
What's one way they can tell?
if it's an aftermarket,
Yeah.
well, sticker, and then you have to look at the color.
The color.
you
Yeah.
know, But look at the sticker if it has a sticker. Factory rebuild didn't have had it all original looking Series 60 stuff. It didn't have a custom color or anything.
Didn't
like
have no
that.
fancy colors going on. None of that.
We're turning this episode into a glider again. Get chill, bro. We've had a lot of guys. I don't know if you see the comments. A lot of guys are like, "Yeah, gliders."
Yeah.
A lot of guys have them, and again, this is we still have in frames, and I still think it's worth doing. And the build quality is a different thing. But what about the crankcase filter?
Those were clogging up. Those were causing derates. You're losing. You have excessive crankcase pressure that's causing a derate.
Yeah.
So sometimes the sensor's going out, bad wiring, or more than likely that crankcase filter clogged up.
Again, related to excessive soot. Oil consumption. We talked about that. High crankcase pressure, burning oil.
Actually, we might be going through that issue on one of our the only ISX that we have in the fleet.
We have.
It's starting to consume
Oil.
Yeah.
Do you know the number? How many gallons a week?
I think it's
We have a good driver on it.
good
so-
driver. Peter, yeah, he's a real good guy. He's running like crazy, right?
Yeah. He's running.
I
He
would
pays
say-
attention, which is good. That's why I did you talk to him about how much he's adding a week?
I want to say, dude, it's like 3 gallons, and he's running
Weekly.
Weekly, yeah.
Okay.
So
We should start looking at this. We did the mains.
we did the main and rods, that's
yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had the front housing that was leaking, so we removed all the gears, resealed the front cover, so that's a plus.
Okay. Interesting. We should definitely pull it in. We did overhead a few months ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're good on the overhead. We're good on pretty
We
much
shouldn't
everything
be.
else.
yeah. So the ISX also. How many have you seen or known that blew up and had the rod go through the block?
I would say a good that I've seen personally, probably 3, but that I've heard of, plenty.
Yeah, right.
Plenty, yeah.
More than others,
Yeah.
and that's again, soot in the oil, contamination of soot in the oil, and messing up the bearings.
Or the whole high pressure fuel pump, all the shavings you get into
Yeah,
the oil.
that too.
You're gonna spin a rod bearing or main bearing.
That
Lock up.
causes it to lock it up. And I've known of few. Ours didn't do that. One. I actually lost one ISX. It blew up, but I'm not gonna be able to recall
Pinpoint
exactly
what the issue was.
But you know what we could touch on. And again, not that we're recommending deletes, but I've seen multiple deleted ISXs blow up. Because I feel like if it just multiplies the soot issue.
I think we talked about this previously, right? How the if you are gonna go get a delete, make sure you do your research. Who's gonna do it, or have some type of feedback. How it's done, exactly.
Yeah. Because now I think some of those I heard about were deleted, and they were blowing up by 800,000.
Okay.
900,000. But at the same time, I know of at least two that had issues very early on, around 200,000.
Yeah, 200. Some of them locked up 200,000. They were still under warranty and they seized up.
Yeah.
So.
Which, at that time you're lucky, because you're under warranty. But if you're buying post-warranty truck with an ISX, that's something to look into, for sure.
Cummins was claiming that, I believe, there was like a 5 to 6 gallons oil consumption was still good.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what the interval was or how many miles, but at that point they were claiming that. I think they just wanted to get away from the warranties.
Yeah. And what's the other problem? I think it's the price. I think parts prices.
They're pretty expensive.
And also some, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Cummins has that brand name, and and it's a good engine despite all the issues, but sometimes people people ask premium for it because it has Cummins ISX. And
yeah. I thought we were looking at some trucks, and I think the ones with the Cummins were going actually a little bit cheaper than the D13s. Or I believe a subscriber came by and
we should do a study. I would research that. I would want to really compare across multiple
right now,
years.
An updated one.
15, 16, 17. Not 17, but 15, 16. I would want to look at price comparison with similar specs.
See what the market's at right now.
Yeah. It's definitely higher. I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely higher. And it doesn't seem to come down any time. I talked to some of my people in my network, and all the wholesale prices went up.
That's crazy.
And the demand is there. I started selling some used stuff, and I see there's a lot of interest. People just want to buy trucks. Well, that's why it's good. Hopefully it will last till next summer, so we can get through the Chinese New Year and the dip.
Yeah, that's gonna be a dip right there.
Which is a normal.
Happens every year.
Every year. So not that big of a deal. But anything else you want to add other than the price?
Well, like we always mention, main rod bearings, oil pressure has to be there.
Address
everything.
Address the rod bearings. Make sure you do the overhead.
And that goes for any engine across the board. It could be Mercedes, Caterpillar, Detroit, you name it.
It's not specific to Cummins, but definitely will help. And the one we had, the other one blew up, but the one we had, the second one, and the one I had that blew up was long before you came. And it was, I'm trying to think really quick if I can come up with what really happened there, but I had one spare then because I had a truck that hit a bridge, and that was totaled. So I pulled that engine and put it in this one that we have right now.
Okay.
So that's why and it seems to be a good engine. Which I've never had the dual overhead cam ones. Is there anything that you want to touch briefly on those?
Obviously, the dual overhead cams, the turbos were a lot cheaper. They didn't have the VGT actuator on them. EGR valves, they were a lot cheaper as well. But I did feel like the cams were going out on the dual overhead. Dual overhead cam more.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You still have some occasionally on the single, but obviously it makes it more expensive when you got two going out.
Yeah.
Always the valve cam was going out.
Do you know what year they went into the dual overhead cam?
Well, the dual overhead came out since 2001.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking because because N14 is what?
You had some like late 99s, 2000s.
Yeah, and N14 stopped that. I think. No, you can still get an N14 in 2001. They upgraded the dual overhead cam to when the new emissions started rolling out.
Yeah.
With EGR.
And then 2010, 2011, that's when they came out with the single overhead cam.
Yeah, they figured out, hey,
common
let's
rail.
Walk away from, but
Yeah.
they went to common rail, that's why.
Yeah.
Which Volvo took 7 more years to go. Volvo took a really long time to go common rail.
Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, they started coming out 17, and then now they got the. Oh, that's a whole another Volvo
that's
topic.
another
right there.
topic. That's another topic for sure. But okay, some interesting facts I found. So in 2000, sorry, seems so 1998 seems so long ago, doesn't it?
Oh, sure.
22 years. The EPA announced fines totaling $83 million against Cummins and 6 other diesel engine manufacturers, the largest fine to date. Do you know why?
Why is that?
The manufacturers evaded testing by deliberately deactivating emissions control during highway driving in order to give the appearance of being in full compliance during laboratory testing.
Sneaky, right?
Sneaky. So, but that's 1998. Let me finish reading that. The manufacturers also agreed to spend more than $1 billion to correct the problem. The trucks used engine ECU software to engage pollution controls during the 20-minute lab tests to verify compliance with the Clean Air Act. But then quietly disabled the emissions controls during normal highway cruising, thereby emitting up to 3 times the maximum allowed NOx pollution. But
I don't think those 20 minutes is long enough for a lab testing. What do you say? I mean, who knows what
whether
kind of
it
testing
is
they're doing.
whether it is or not, the question is this when all the NOx controls started, and they did that. Not only them, it seems like multiple manufacturers did that. But what happened with Volkswagen? It's the same thing, right? You're putting such high pressure on environmental regulation and emissions. It's almost always look at 2010, right? There's so many issues with trucks. There's so much garbage out there when all the emissions started coming out in one package. Even in passenger cars, they were doing it. It was like, hey, this is ridiculous. We can't meet that within
that time frame.
Within that time frame, Other interesting fact: Cummins has 58,000 employees, which is pretty big. And they reported a net income of almost 2.2 billion, and the gross sales were almost 24 billion in 2018.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
all those plungers going out, all those cylinder heads.
I know. So yeah, the VGT. That's how they made quarter of the revenue. Awesome company. Good trucks, good engines. I mean, so I think we covered everything. What do you think?
I think we covered everything except the drop liners, which that could be a reason why.
Leave something for everybody else to drop something in the comments. Like, hey,
go ahead,
what
drop
else?
a comment.
Or what did we say
absolutely.
that was not true? Just call us out. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, we got
Appreciate you
covered.
guys. Thank you again for the 10,000 subscribers. We will commit to a better quality and awesome content. Try to figure out a better, more maybe different series. I do want to work on some custom trucks, obviously, but we need more texts. So send text our way. And happy holidays. Subscribe if you like the episode, and let us know what you thought. And we'll talk to you soon.